not always, but I do think that it's a bit of a group effort. Like, how much can we blame him entirely for the way that Roma season is going? Or is it the choices of the club in general when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to, bringing in these players that they're so fascinated by? I mean, when Thiago Pinto did this, did the interview and started explaining the fact where he just would suggest these little ideas, or maybe Lukaku can come to us, or maybe Dybala, and always as in jest. And then when he gets to them, he just feels like the big cheese that scored the great victory of signing these players. It's all good and well because Lukaku at least is always available to you. But when you have Pellegrini, when you have Renato Sanchez, when you have Dybala, always injury-prone players, you're leaving Mourinho with not much opportunity to really try to build something. Am I finding excuses for him at this point?
Yes and no. I think the manager will always have a say in recruitment, and he has ultimately sanctioned those signings as well. And I think you can't have it both ways. You can't try and brand it as or frame it as, I'm Mourinho, I'm able to attract all of these great players. Lukaku wants to play with me again. Dybala wants to come to the club because I'm at the club. Even recently with Frosinone, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing. Dean Huijsen, the 18-year-old, he doesn't go to Frosinone, he goes to Roma because he snubs Di Francesco in favour of Mourinho. Then he gives away the crucial penalty in a derby and so on and so forth. That was a very unfortunate series of events. But I think you can't have it both ways. Either you say, yes, I want these players, I need star power, Roma needs these big personalities, but they do come with a checkered injury record. You can't then say, we only get these players because they have bad injury records and no one will touch them. Well, which is it? Are you getting them because you're able to convince them to come, or are you getting them because no one else wants them? Do you know, there's always an excuse, unfortunately. And I just want to come back to the fine margins thing. And I have really gone the opposite way in Mourinho's career. I was a huge Mourinho fanboy growing up. Massive. I mean, that comes with supporting Southampton. You don't really get much in the way of joy. So so you look for these sort of great personalities and winners. And I loved him winning with Porto and bursting on the scene, and then the Chelsea years and Inter. It was just incredible. It was just high after high after high. But his whole career has been built on fine margins. Lest we forget, he wins at Old Trafford because Cristina scores in the 90th minute and they knock out Manchester United, and Porto go on to win the Champions League, if memory serves. He will always talk to you about the ghost goal, which is true, but there are other...
because that was a ridiculous one. The ghost goal was if it wasn't given, then it's a red card and a penalty. So that one was always a bit of a red herring, I thought.
But no, absolutely. And even Inter, do you remember when Inter won the treble? They nearly went out in the group stage. I think they scored a last-minute goal. Who was it, against Werder Bremen or something like that? So he has built his career on these fine margins. If you actually look back and you were to say, well, you got the rub of the green there, I think you have to take the rough with the smooth. And then, if things have panned out your way in the early portion of your career because you have this force of personality and your players will die for you, then the players just get a little bit tired. And unfortunately, players also read the press. They watch coverage of football. They see how he's behaved at other clubs. They see how things haven't turned out. They see that eventually there comes a time when he no longer is able to get the same performances out of players. And it's all stick and never carrot. And I think, you can't accuse your players of betraying you. You can't say our wingbacks are useless, all their crosses are rubbish, because it's not conducive to getting an improvement out of the team. And I think the writing was on the wall when he starts to criticise the players.